So I was thinking maybe we should talk a little bit about life plans, right? Everyone's got some sort of thing that they're working towards, and I jotted down all of the shit that I've failed at, that I've tried over the years that did not become my career, and I wanted to share it with you, and maybe you'll get a kick out of it. Because the point I want to make is, if your plan has fallen apart, then it's fine, right? So I'll start with the first one. So when I was 16 or so in high school, and I was kind of approaching college or starting to think about that, I obviously began to think, what am I going to do with my life? And I had no idea. So I was like, maybe I should just join the military. That seems simple enough. So I looked into joining the army, right? And I wanted to do it all the way. I didn't want to just enlist and just be like a normal soldier. I wanted to get the degree, become an officer, go the upper ranks, right? So I wanted to apply to West Point, which is the military academy for the army. It's like the best place you could possibly be in for launching your military career, basically, in the army. And so, I started to try to get a little bit in shape. I was looking into how it worked, how you get into the academy. But I quickly realized that the odds were not stacked in my favor, and it was quite improbable that I would actually get in. I think only one or two people per district, per state get in. And for me, that meant only a handful, not even a dozen people from my entire state would probably get in. And so I was like, shit, I'm not that special. I'm not that extracurricular bound. I wasn't doing all these extra things that would make me look favorable. My SAT score sucked, so that's not going to happen. So that plan quickly fell apart. And also because I recognized that, am I really a military person? Do I really want to be told what to do and have a regimented life? Not really. I'm pretty, I'm not one to follow the rules, basically. So that did not work out. So then I was left well, now what do I do? I still have to go to college, or I still have to figure out what my life is going to be. So the next thing that I considered, albeit very briefly, was becoming a diplomat, like a politician almost, right? Because it sounded really cool. It was oh man, you get to travel the world, you get to do important meetings with world leaders, and you're doing an important job. But then I realized again quickly that, well man, you have to fly all the time. You're away from your family. And me at the time, I loved playing video games. So I was like, I can't really play video games being a diplomat. So that did not work. And also, I don't think I had the charisma at the time to do that. I wasn't one to run for office. And again, similar to the military, actually, I recognized that I was considering that job not because I was really passionate about it, but because I thought it sounded prestigious and cool. With the army, I was like, man, it sounds so badass to be an army ranger, or to have the uniform with the little medals and stuff, right? Not because I wanted to be a person to serve the country and it's all about honor. I was like, it just sounds cool, which is a pretty shallow, bad reason. I recognize that now, but at the time I did not think about that. I just was doing it because it sounded really cool. And also with diplomats, they just pay a lot of money. So I was like, it makes a lot of money, so maybe I should do that. Right, so that did not work. Did not work at all. So the next thing, as I approached, probably 17, when I was starting to actually go to college, I turned 18 when I went to college, I wanted to study game design. That's what I ended up studying, graduating in. I started initially thinking maybe I should be a programmer, right? Because again, it pays a lot of money. It's a pretty well-respected job, and it would be a great career path. But then once again, I recognized that I'm not technical. I'm not gifted with math or code. It's not something that I process naturally. And so that did not work. But then I still had the rest of the game design program to work off of, right? Because it's still art, music, level design, character design. There's so many different things you can do. And so I went through the entire program. I graduated and I got my bachelor's, but I thought about it and I was like, I don't know if I really want to work in the game design industry, because there's a lot of flack, rightfully so, that a lot of companies get. The work culture is terrible at some of the AAA companies. There's a lot of crunch is what they call it, when they have to get a game out and they have to really overwork you, and it just sounded like a bad time. And I also recognized that I personally didn't have like the talent in any particular area. Like I was pretty good at art. I was okay at sound and music, but I wasn't, passionate about it. I didn't really see myself having the industry level quality work to get a job at a studio. And so then I graduated, right? And now I'm out. I'm still living at home at this time, but I'm technically out of the education system, and I'm now in the world trying to figure out what my path is going to be. And during college, I had picked up a internship, which I actually ended up getting a job with. It's my current 9-to-5. And so I've been doing that for several years now, and it's okay. It's fine, but it's a 9-to-5, and it's not my passion. So here I am, a freshly graduated student, 2022 of last year, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do with my life now? I've gone through, 4, 5, 6 different possible paths. None of them have worked out. I don't know what I'm doing. Like most 21-year-olds at the time, you don't know what you're doing with your life. And I was kind of depressed, honestly, at the time. I didn't know what to do. And so there it was the summer of 2022 when I started my first YouTube channel. And I've mentioned this channel a few times. It's not this current channel. It was an old one that I did for Minecraft content. And that one never really took off, but it was something to occupy me. It kept me busy. It was something that felt like the most engaged and passionate I had been about anything that I had tried. And so I did that for 6 months. And then I started this channel in February of 2023. And now it's been almost a year of this channel. And I gotta say, man, this has been the most concrete thing that's actually worked. And it's quite refreshing to actually have something that feels like a way out. This could be my life. And so what I've learned from all of this, because that's a lot of different things over the past, 6, 7 years or so, is that it's perfectly fine if your plan falls apart. Like a lot of people, they have this idea that they have to go to college and whatever they study, that is going to be their plan. And, you'll go and maybe study environmental science or engineering or something basic. And then you get out and you're like, well, I don't really want to do this. It's not actually me. And that's what I recognized. I studied game design and that was not me. Even though I had fun in the program, it's still not something that I could see myself doing for 45 years or something. And now that I have YouTube and it's this is my actual passion now, is that it feels like all of that was worth it. It's a lot of people, they get upset when something falls apart and it doesn't work and they have to find something new. They have to start over. But I know it doesn't seem like it, but that's actually awesome. There's a great quote from Night at the Museum where Robin Williams' character, I think he played Teddy Roosevelt, and he was talking to Ben Stiller, and Ben Stiller was about to leave the museum, and he said, I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. And Teddy goes, how exciting. Isn't it awesome to have nothing, and you get to start from absolute scratch? And not even scratch, because you actually have all the experiences before. So even though none of my West Point ambitions, diplomatic ambitions, those didn't work out, I actually gained some experience. And not necessarily in the sense that I went to West Point and actually did the thing, but I considered something and researched it and, loosely applied it in my life. And then while I failed, I at least gained some knowledge. And then the next thing that I try, I'm like, well, last time I did this and it didn't work out. So maybe I should look out for these things, these pitfalls in my future ambitions. And that's definitely been true with YouTube for me, because I changed a whole hell of a lot in the past year. I did Minecraft initially, and then I did a server, and then I did, in-person self-improvement content. And, I've learned so much. And most of the content that I've made hasn't succeeded. It's not like it's all at 1 million+ views or something, but I've slowly but surely been gaining experience. And that's what matters more than anything else. Just because your life plan fell apart, that doesn't mean that you're a failure or that you are a loser. But it does mean that you now have a great opportunity to start over. And you have the world at your disposal, right? The internet is a beautiful thing. And I have taught myself everything about YouTube. And if you have a passion that you really want to do, that you have not yet explored, you can teach yourself quite a bit. I honestly think that's true. I mean, I've done it in my own life with YouTube and other skills that I've learned. And I just think you need to take a optimistic approach to this kind of thing. And when your plan inevitably changes or falls through, like my YouTube plans, those have changed a lot. Just look at it like an opportunity to grow. And this is something new that I get to do. And that's the important thing. It's not that, oh, I have to do this. It's that I get to do this. I have the privilege of starting over and doing something new. Because a lot of people, they have the opposite problem, where their life plans never changed. And maybe they were overly complacent with their 9 to 5, right? And they do the same thing for 40 years and they hated it, or maybe not hated it, but it was kind of just like mundane. And they never tried that thing that they wanted to do because it was comfortable. This is basically the opposite of that. You need to embrace the chaos. And it's not going to be pretty. Life is certainly not a smooth ride most of the time, but it's exciting. And I think that you should look at it with this optimistic approach, because life is going to change whether you like it or not. It's just a matter of how receptive you are to that change. But that's about it. So I'll catch you later.